Back with us on Louisville Live this morning. We're opening up the legal line right now, 502-276-2118. Have you been involved in an accident? Have you slipped? Maybe a car accident, maybe a school bus accident. Give us a call right now if you have some questions. Workers' comp, Social Security, disability. A lot of people have questions. Don't be afraid. Now's the time to get some understanding from someone who knows a little bit about everything. Karl Truman, good having you with us.
Good morning.
Great to be back on another Tuesday.
Absolutely.
So all the schools are back, and even the colleges. I heard a couple times a little fender bender here with the school bus and some lost kids for a few hours. But for the most part, outside of those lost kids, which they found, it looked like it kicked off pretty well, but you can't have a school year without some problems.
Oh yeah, it's of course, as we talked about before, you need to be aware of the increased traffic. The bridge, Spaghetti Junction, all the local neighborhoods with the increased traffic, people going to school and kids out there. So it's time to slow down and be aware.
Yeah. Speaking of back to school, I wondered about, there's a lot of carpooling that happens in the mornings. Parents sort of trade off responsibilities, dropping kids off and picking them up. Are there any particular liability issues that parents need to be aware of with having cars full of other people's children if something were to happen?
Well, just as in any situation, I mean, when you have passengers in your car, you're responsible to use reasonable care to, look out for their safety, whether it's just as you would on any other occasion. So certainly, certainly you've got to be aware, as you always would, for any traffic issues.
And obviously you can't pile the car up too much. There are only so many seatbelts in a car. I've seen people do that and, have a little extra in there. And I'm like, I know everybody's not strapped in. There aren't that many seatbelts in a car.
Oh, it bothers me when I see kids in the back of pickup trucks.
That's illegal.
Yes.
But I see it. I still see it.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't load them up there and go a few blocks down. Hey, we're taking your phone calls, 502-276-2118 for the injured lawyer, Karl Truman. We want to tell you about some of Karl's areas of practice because, again, we talk about Social Security, disability, workers' comp, and an accident, but medical malpractice, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury law, Social Security law, workers' comp, many more. And good thing, Karl, you have offices in both Kentucky and Southern Indiana.
That's something that we talk about is being licensed in both states, both Indiana and Kentucky, because so often I see attorneys from one state want to do a case in another state. And we've talked about this before too. I've recently had several people that have been clients that live here locally but have been on vacation in Florida or other states, and they get hurt while they're on vacation. And rather than me trying to say, okay, I'm going to hand you your case in Florida, even though I'm not licensed there, I network with attorneys all over the country. So I was able to call an attorney I know in Florida and say, this person needs some help, and able to connect them. And so he's representing them in handling the case in Florida, which is, he knows the Florida law. I don't.
Right.
So that's good. Hey, we got some emails here. Fred in Oldham County writes about accidents. You talk about accidents. Fred in Oldham County writes the WBKI legal line. I accidentally hit a car on the way to work several months ago. The woman's trunk was unable to shut, no other damage. And she said she would call her insurance to turn it in. She never called in to either insurance company. So does that mean I am clear forever? So small fender bender, small accident, nobody turns it in. Is there a statute of limitations?
Clear until the statute of limitations, after the statute of limitations. But, and something like that, I mean, if there's clearly no injuries, then just let the insurance companies handle it. There might be, did they exchange information? It doesn't really say. Did they even exchange information or what they were going to do? So certainly, if you do hear from them, just let your insurance company handle it and let them take care of it.
Okay. Again, the phone lines are open, 276-2118. If you have a question for Karl, definitely give us a call. And Karl, we do always get emails here with questions. We have another one from Susan in Fern Creek. They just are always rolling in. Susan says, I'm having trouble at work with my boss. I keep getting remarks about how I look and other inappropriate words. I feel if I talk to this individual, it would backfire and I would be permanently be indirectly reprimanded for having a problem with him. Help. Please help me.
Well, as you've probably always heard me say many times here, is to document what has transpired. I mean, the first step in a sexual harassment or any type of harassment situation is to directly tell the person, stop. Just say, I don't appreciate it, this is inappropriate behavior, please stop. And keep yourself a little journal. So if it's a coworker or even a boss, just say stop. And then if it continues, then go to their boss, the supervisor or whoever the boss of for them, and again, state this is what's happened, and even put it in writing, put it in a letter so it's documented, and tell the employer, this is going on. I want it to stop. And then if they still don't take immediate action or remedial action, then contact the EEOC and file a complaint for sexual harassment, or contact an attorney about any other legal action. But those are the initial steps you should go through.
Okay.
Well, you see Carl's number right there, 1-800-ACCIDENT. You can call him 24/7, and encourage you to go to his website too, because he has a lot of good information you may want to need, and his calls to his office are confidential. Our number right now is 276-2118. I had a question for you. A lot of people take kids to and from football games. It sort of goes back about carpooling, but what if you load people up in a football game? Do you have to have enough insurance if you have 4 people in the car? Or in this economy, some people even drop insurance, and I know you say don't drop your insurance, don't reduce it. But what about if you're loading people up? Should you have more insurance if you're doing carpooling and kids to and from games?
Well, regardless, what that really brings up is a question of how to read your insurance policy and what questions to ask your insurance agent about your coverage. You're right. I see a lot of people these days that either don't have any insurance for whatever reason or have minimum coverage. But one of the things on the policy is there's what's called a per person coverage and a per accident coverage. So you look at the first number of you might see it like 100/300 or 25/50 on your policy that's your liability limits. And so what that means is that the first number is what one person can recover, and the second number is what everyone in that you may be negligently causing harm to, what everyone in the vehicle or another vehicle would be able to recover. So you have to ask that question to your agent: is what are your per person and per accident limits?
Well, we appreciate your emails to us. You can email them anytime to us live at wbki.tv. We appreciate those, and phone calls.
We do. We have a caller on the line. John in Louisville has a question for Karl Truman. Hi, John.
Hi, thank you for taking the call.
Absolutely.
My car was sitting in the parking lot, and it was hit by a pickup truck, and the person got out and walked away. And the next day I found out that the person that owned the truck was serving in Iraq. And so I got a police report and everything, but I don't know how to contact this person or try to get some of my money back.
Well, John, we appreciate your call.
Thank you, John.
So the owner serving in Iraq, someone was driving that pickup, and whether family or friend, and hit John, and he wants to be damages, wants to be dealt with.
Yeah. One of the questions would be was that person driving it with permission, or were they driving it without permission? If they're driving it without permission, then there could be some coverage questions. So apparently, he was able to identify the owner of the vehicle, but that the person that was driving the car left the scene. They should be able to, they can track down, the police can track down, through the owner, through their address, and they may involve someone even showing up and knocking at the door and saying who was driving this truck, and and if there was a leaving the scene issue, then the police should do that. They should investigate that.
I just hope if this gentleman or woman is serving in Iraq, I just hope that they're not bothered in their service of duty, and a family member here can deal with it, because that's tough if someone's serving to be dealt with an issue like this.
Oh, sure, and when that goes into a whole other area about people who are deployed, having retired from the Army Reserve myself. I understand all those issues, and typically you have someone designated what's called a power of attorney to handle your affairs when you're here, and is the person's insurance company should be able to handle it.
John,
too.
hopefully your insurance company will help. If you have further questions, feel free to call.
That's right.
Karl Truman. And also, is it your birthday coming up?
Coming up.
A couple weeks.
Okay, we got to sing
Happy
we're
early
going to sing happy birthday to him next week.
Next week?
Next week. Are you
We
here?
have a week, right?
I'm here next
We're
week.
going to sing happy birthday
it's a
live to
birthday
Karl next week.
celebration.
The injury attorney.